again, underneath my leadership, anything that comes through the office will be looked into. Follow-up is everything. And when that deputy gives a case number like that, all right, and I guarantee you, you're still waiting for a phone call, correct? And if it is political signs, I don't care if he's in the office or not. The right thing to do is that, should have been taken up, especially since he's the major currently at the sheriff's office. That should go right up to the chief deputy and the sheriff, and they should be notifying him that, hey, we got a complaint that your signs are out, beforehand. You need to go take care of that. That's the right thing to do, but has that happened? Absolutely not.
So how come the fine has been levied?
I'll be honest with you, they're not gonna process it, they're not gonna take it forward because of, well, I'll just be quiet. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The signs that we were talking about were I know because it was right near my house.
Well, there's two right now, they're still there.
They were not picked up because they're right by my house. And they're still there.
I'd like to respond to his question. He says, do you find yourself when you run a stop sign accidentally? So,
Yes, I go.
so to answer your question, I doubt Sean's gonna levy fines against himself.
They weren't picked up.
And even, real quick, even though there is a sheriff and undersheriff, let's make no doubt, both of those people are, for all practical purposes, retired.
Well, maybe so, but as a convicted criminal, which he is, okay, I guess he doesn't, since he hangs out with that crowd, then his behavior indicated what he did.
It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother him.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Brenda Lee. We are what's known as the move-ins from Gwinnett County outside of Atlanta to these beautiful mountains, and
You
lots
escaped.
of great people.
You escaped.
I did. I really don't have a question. I actually have a lot of questions, but I want to make a statement. Thank you, gentlemen, for actually showing up and looking us in the eye, shaking our hands, and being men of character. The skeleton is humorous, but it's sad. It's very sad that the person that's not there is not here. Thank you.
I hate to be talking about response. That complaint was filed in November. And you were,
Yeah, I just wanted to basically throw this out as a follow-up. I came from a larger agency. In a situation like this, we always had, and I don't know if we have here, code enforcement officers, okay? I think what, I don't wanna say it was a fair question to ask as far as follow-up goes, but that's more of a code enforcement violation. In our case, if I was the officer that responded out there, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna follow up. What I'm gonna do is contact code enforcement, say, hey, can you guys check in on this? We would never come out and issue, arrest people or fine people. That's something for code enforcement, and maybe Doug can answer. Do we have a code enforcement officer?
So here, excuse me, ma'am. So here's what I'm gonna say. Anytime that we have had any code enforcement issues, okay, county ordinances, I can speak because I know this. There's discussion that has had happen with the current commissioner about the enforcement of certain ordinances. And I'm sorry, but you can't pick the ones that you wanna enforce.
So the law doesn't matter. It's who you know and whether it's gonna get prosecuted, is that right?
That's all.
I think that's what you're saying.
Again, I mean, it's been over and over through the years, okay? I've seen it happen. There's ordinances that we've needed to enforce, and discussion has been had by the current administration and the commissioner, what does and doesn't. I'm being honest. That's God's honest truth.
You know, the commissioner is not the law enforcement
That's correct.
officer of
That is
this
correct.
county.
That's correct.
So,
Got a question, man? Got a question, man?
Mr. Jones, we talked at Union County when you had the forum there, and I told you about an elderly couple who was scammed out of $38,000. I even asked Mr. Dyer about it. He wanted to get back with me. A synopsis to jog your memory, it took 2 days for a sheriff's officer to think about taking a report. I didn't say they showed up to the residence, but you see the key here is that it took place at the bank in the city limits, but the sheriff's officer was supposed to respond. When they didn't respond, the couple went down to the sheriff's office. They took the report, State Bank or whatever that place is called. Anyways, they said they didn't have video. The sheriffs didn't respond, didn't pursue any video. The city police officer didn't pursue any video. Then, weeks after, called in another scam for the same couple. The investigator said, at 12 o'clock, when I get off, I'll be there. I get off at 4. He didn't show up to 4:30. So all this, we're talking about response, reaction, follow-up, it's not happening. And so that's firsthand knowledge. That isn't because they're my neighbor, because I was present when it happened. And so it's piss poor. And that's, to me, is, I'm not saying campaign signs aren't important or important. I'm just saying that right there is as good as reality as you can get, because they don't care.
Mr. Tom, would you like to say something?
Well, I do remember speaking to you.
Yes, sir.
I can't answer what the sheriff's office is doing currently, but I will say that's probably why one of the candidates isn't here today, because that is his responsibility, and he would have to answer that question. I can tell you what the sheriff's office would do if I'm sheriff, and we would definitely respond. That's a very serious situation, and we would work with the city police to see whatever information we could gather. And there's actually other agencies that could become involved in this. But I will tell you this, internet crimes and things like that, now I don't know all the details. Did this person go to the bank or something, or do something?
It involved running around the internet. They hacked their system, then they called them on the phone, then they continued to harass. They were scared. They asked to use my phone. I went over there, they used my phone to call into the sheriff's department. Again, 2 days, didn't happen. She had gone down to the State County Bank, whatever that place is, next to the Waffle House, and the guy had her pull up behind him, called her on her phone, and said, hey, get out and give me the money. And she said, I'm not getting out of my car. You pull up, I'll throw it in next to you. Well, then they kept calling, and she called the sheriff's office and said, hey, they still calling me. Let's make a stand here. No, we're not interested.
Well, that actually sounds more like robbery than some type of scam. But I will tell you that the sheriff's office, if they notify us, will immediately respond, especially on things like that, and take immediate action. And on that case, we would probably work on some way of maybe safely doing a surveillance and arresting that person. We would probably arrest them for robbery or fraud or some other charges. But I can't answer for what the sheriff's office does now, but I will do this before I'll hand the mic to Doug. I think the most important thing here going forward is education. If people think something is going on, I'm sheriff, Doug's sheriff, whoever's sheriff, that you should contact the sheriff's office and have them, get them involved, let them look at it before you push a button. Never share information, never share your social security, never share your date of birth, never share your account numbers. Just don't share anything. If anybody's contacted you, I mean, I wouldn't even give my social security number to my nephew, so I don't know why you would give it to a stranger. But that's the main thing, is education, contacting the sheriff's office. On this particular incident, it sounded like the law enforcement missed an opportunity to make an arrest.
Underneath my leadership, what would happen is those deputies would respond. Tom is right. That deputy should have responded out there as soon as that call come in, because that's serious in nature. That's something urgent that needs to be dealt with right then and there. Because time is of the essence. The more time that lapses in a situation like that, that perpetrator, that guy that's, sitting there fixing to scam somebody out of all that money that he was just talking about, they're waiting for another opportunity to scam somebody else. And the other piece of this is when that deputy responds and they start getting the intel of that case and they start building on it ASAP, okay, and they find out that it's in the city limits, they can go ahead and contact the city police, go ahead and start, establishing a network of communication right there, and then go ahead and get over to the bank ASAP. So the level of service that should be happening, and it goes back to who FTO trains them as well. And it falls back underneath that leadership. And also above that, it's just showing lack of leadership, lack of caring for the citizens of Union County. And that's why you've got several candidates running for sheriff.
Mine is more of a statement than a question. I'm pretty sad that the Blairsville police hired a convicted criminal to be a police officer. It's bad that the GOP didn't vet that person enough to find out the criminal past. And it's even worse that there's a community of silence, not letting people, like from Gwinnett County, that don't know everything going on up here. I just learned this a few days ago. I don't know how the people of this county are gonna elect somebody to be the chief law enforcement officer of a county when they're a convicted criminal. Whether it's a misdemeanor or not, it's wrong. My statement.
Sean, would you like to comment?
Please, Sean.
You're assuming he's going to be elected.
He's running, he's related to enough people in this county. That's my concern.
Question,